So for the third straight day, gun violence in New York City is making headlines. 3 shootings in less than a 36-hour time span.
The latest victims, 2 young girls enjoying the playground on a warm New York evening, right? So joining us this morning are NYPD's Deputy Commissioner Tarik Sheppard and Daughtry to discuss how the city's response is responding to those incidents plus others. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here this morning. Let's begin with what exactly played out on the playground last night. It's one of our top stories this morning, right? And begin with the condition of those young girls and the search for suspects and what we know.
Yep, I'll take it. So thanks Dan for the question. The girls were in the park with the mother. The mother was watching them. They were playing inside of the playground on a park in Brownsville, which is located in the 73rd precinct. We believe that 2 individuals did come into the park. They did open fire, striking the 2 young females. The mother immediately put them in the car, took them to Brookdale Hospital by herself, where they are both stable. They're going to make it, thank God. One was transported to Maimonides Hospital for further medical care, but they're expected to make a full recovery.
Gang related?
It's too early to say, but that's what we're possibly going with. This is going to be a gang-motivated shooting. Due to the area where it happened at and the kids that was inside of the playground at the time. But we're not ready to officially call it gang yet, but we're leaning towards gang-motivated shooting.
But again, no suspects? No specific suspects?
There is no persons of interest at this time.
Okay.
We have some good investigative theories, but we're not ready to say we have a suspect yet.
Now, based on the NYPD's numbers, shootings have gone up in that particular precinct, the 7-3.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to bring those numbers down?
First, let's talk about the 73rd precinct. They are down in total crime, so they're doing a good job over there. They're also up against one of the best years they've ever had in shootings. But if you take a look at the 73rd precinct and you compare it to, let's say, 2 years ago or 5 years ago before this regime came in, I think they're down still around 250% in shooting incidents. So it's a challenge because they had almost a record year last year of keeping the violence low. They're up slightly from the success last year, but they're still doing pretty well. Obviously, we don't want to see one person get shot, but Brownsville was averaging over 100 shootings before this regime came in.
Well, yeah.
I think they're on pace for like 55, 60 this year.
Yeah.
We don't want to see one, but in the totality of things, the 73rd is still doing pretty well based on the history that precinct has had for decades.
And you know, I'm going to stay in that area for a second, because less than a mile from last night's shooting on the playground, there's other shooting that were reported yesterday. This 15-year-old boy that was fatally shot in the Howard houses with his 12-year-old cousin facing murder charges. So what exactly played out inside that apartment? We're talking about a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Yep. So the 12-year-old and the 14-year-old was inside of the apartment playing around with the gun. And this is a tragic, this is a tragedy for the mom, the dad, for the family involved in this. A young one lost their life to gun violence inside of in this apartment, and our hearts go out to the family. However, this is just a case where they're messing around with the gun inside of the apartment. It goes off, and it costs the loved one their life. And like I said before, Dan, we are extremely empathetic to that family.
It's a legal gun?
Well, there's still an investigation. This is an active investigation by the Brooklyn DA's office, so we don't want to go into specifics. But as you know, the one individual was charged with that. That's not going to bring back their loved one. But this is a tragedy, and this is something that should have been avoidable. But we can't police inside of people's apartments.
Do you know who the gun belongs to?
Yeah, this all being still under investigation. I think one of the relatives was away at the time. I think the grandfather was watching. The children was totally unaware, we believe at this time, that a weapon was in the house. This is something that the problem still is even possessing a gun, legal or illegal. You have to keep these things unloaded if you do possess one legally, but you shouldn't have illegal guns in your household. When there's children around, you got to be extra cautious and careful about just what's going on inside of the household. But I don't believe the grandfather was aware that a gun was in the house.
And I think that's what's most disturbing to most everyone, is that the age of the victims and the suspects are getting younger and younger.
Yeah. Kids are going to be curious when it comes to especially weapons. They play the games online. They play all these games online where they use weapons. I mean, that's one of my biggest nightmares is when that's why I've been doing this since for almost 10 years now when my first kid was born. As soon as I get home, I put my gun right in the safe.
Yeah.
I don't put it on the table. I just muscle memory, right to the safe because, God forbid, I wake up and leave my weapon on the table and something like that happens
But that's
to my
what
kids.
you're doing in your own home. I mean,
Yep.
there's an issue with youth and guns on the streets. I mean, just look, yesterday was a different situation with the NYPD officers that were shot, but that was a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And we've seen other incidents that have played out with just younger and younger. But let's zero in on this 19-year-old for a second, because again, teenager here. And in possession of a gun. Let's talk about, first off, the officer's conditions, and then get into the actual case.
Yeah, well, as you saw, both officers were discharged
Yep.
from the hospital yesterday. We were at that hospital speaking with the families. We saw the video of everything that took place there. Very heroic, addressing something that is plaguing the city, which is people committing robberies and grand larcenies and then fleeing on scooters and mopeds. And these officers, very good police work. Seeing a scooter driving recklessly at that time of night, knew something was wrong, approached the right individual, and they ended up getting shot. They were able to defend themselves and take them into custody. But this is a problem that
Where's he getting the
exists
gun?
in the city.
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question, Dan. Let's talk about the office for a second. We watched the video, the body camera video, when we were inside of the hospital last night, and it just sent chills, through my whole body when Yaruso Yaruso gets shot in the chest. He gets shot in the chest. His partner arrives to back him up. He gets shot. His partner gets shot in the leg. They finally were able to get him into cuffs, and he says, "I'm shot. I'm shot." And he goes, "Where you shot?" I said, "Sergeant." He goes, "In my chest, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I need you to put a tourniquet on, Officer Brew." Immediately, he's taking the attention off himself after being shot in the chest, and he's directing his teammates to put the tourniquet on his partner, and then telling his other teammate to cuff him. That's heroic.
And we got to continue to work with Intel and our federal partners, and try and find out, why are these guns so easily accessible? Why are people who haven't even been in the country that long, why is one of the first things they can find out is where to get a gun in New York City? This should be something that's not happening, but we got to continue to work to try and make sure that gun violence doesn't plague our city, that gun dealing is not something that's so prevalent that even someone who's been in the country for such a short period of time just immediately knows where to go and get one.
All right. Well, thanks, gentlemen, for coming in
Thank
and
you.
giving us the latest on
Thank
the
you.
incidents this
All right.
morning. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.